Hello guys and welcome to a new War Thunder video today by me, Vulcan. Today we're going to be taking a good look at both the IL-2 and the IL-2M. Now I'm not sure how many battles this is going to take because they aren't the best that they could have been in this game, and I'm not saying that the IL-2 is in by any way a bad plane. It's just in the game they aren't represented as well as they possibly could be, and for some I think it's just because I don't know, I'm going to try and bring them into battle at their lowest rank. So the IL-2M is at rank 7, so I'm going to take out the aircraft, the Yak 9T that I have, and just put it as something else. Purely because I don't want, let's just change it to a reserve plane for now. I don't want to put the IL-2M in a higher battle than it's kind of needs to be in. And the reason is, it's actually a very weak plane in War Thunder, unfortunately. It was deemed as the flying tank by the Russians and by other nations, and that's in real life. And it was potentially a very, very strong aircraft. Came with rockets, came with bombs. On the IL-2M, I actually do have the 8 rockets and 400 kilogram bombs. It's quite a big payload for a ground attack aircraft. I'm going to actually equip the omni-purpose ammunition belt for the armor-piercing bullets. And yeah, I actually think that this plane is reasonably good. It turns very fast and it's very good for the ground attack role. It's just that when a fighter gets on your tail, you're not going to last very long. And the IL-2M is even worse for that, purely because it doesn't have that rear gunner that the IL-2M does. So anyway, we're going to just get the ammunition belt for armored targets and the armor piercing tracer bullets, and we're going to get the 8 rockets and 400 kilogram bombs for the IL-2 as well. So anyway, let's get into a battle and see how these actually perform in War Thunder. So here we are in a domination game. Probably not one of the best games to show off the capabilities of the IL-2, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first IL-2, first of all, the one without the machine gunner on the back, and we're going to go straight for the ground targets. And I'll show you just how effective the rockets and bombs are combined to take out those particular ground targets. Now what I'll likely do is, as soon as I lose with both of the IL-2s, is I'll start another battle straight away. We'll get straight into another battle, and I'll continue to talk about the IL-2s because I do have a massive feeling that I'm going to get shot down reasonably quickly. Now they do have a very good front armament. Like if I fire with my machine guns, they do have quite a powerful punch if you're firing at an enemy aircraft. However, generally, like I said before, if you get somebody on your tail, you're not going to last very long. And it's quite disappointing because the IL-2 was deemed to be one of the best ground attack aircraft because it was so tanky and it could just hit everything it wanted to without much punishment. Whereas in this, it doesn't live up to that at all. Anyway, let's see how these do against the ground targets. We've got medium tanks and AAA to kill. So let's try and fire off the rockets at 500 meters. A couple of kills there. Another one there. That's just the rockets. That was, I think we got 2 kills. I think the second rocket missed. Anyway, you can see I can use the plane to pull round very, very quickly. We can get back on target, and we can go for these other AAs. So get into within 500 meters, and fire a rocket. That actually missed. Fire another rocket, get a nice kill. Come down, drop a bomb in the middle of those 2 tanks, and get a nice double strike onto those tanks. Now you can see here we now have a Yak 9 on our tail, and we did not last long, as our tail actually gets completely shot off. Not something you really want to ever see. Now that's the trouble with the IL-2. I think in real life it never really had to deal with fighters which had cannons. The thing that makes it really annoying is that it has to play against its own Russian counterparts, which are very, very strong. energy fighters and have those powerful cannons that can really tear apart light attack ground aircraft, and it never works out too well. As soon as any sort of cannon aircraft gets onto your tail, you just die. And I really like the plane. I really like the look of the IL-2. The IL-2 is awesome. It's got this, especially the IL-2M with its machine gun on the back. It's very, very effective. But if you can survive long enough for it actually to be useful. Now, you do have a cockpit view for the IL-2M, and it is to be expected because there is a game called IL-2 Sturmovik, and I do have it, I believe, somewhere, and I will potentially play it for you guys just as a special, but I don't know, they've got all of the information they need for this cockpit. It's a very, very popular plane. A lot of people know about it, so I wouldn't see any reason not to have it there. Anyway, got a couple of medium tanks below us, so let's get into a dive and drop the bombs onto these medium tanks. Unfortunately, we have a yak harassing us at the arse. So we're going to try and outturn this yak, because literally we can. Gonna continue to go round. Come on. Come on. Yeah, there you go, you lost. You lose. And there we go. Cannon shot. You can just see just how it just falls apart. It's honestly quite depressing. Especially for such a renowned aircraft in this game. It's like, for example, the BF-109. The BF-109 is amazing in this game. The Spitfires are even reasonably good. But the IL-2 is a real letdown. A real letdown. Anyway, let's get out of this and go into another battle. Hopefully a ground strike battle, where I can really show the potential of the IL-2. Okay, so here we are on ground strike port. It looks like we did manage to get ourselves a ground strike mission. Now hopefully this time the armor, or the potential invincible armor of the IL-2 will actually shine. I'm not holding out any hopes though, and I hope you guys don't either, because this was one of the most well-armoured planes of World War II, and you can see just how easily it gets shot down. I don't know what they've done to it. Honestly, it should take a lot more to shoot this down than just like one shot from a 37mm cannon. Yeah, okay, it would do a lot of damage, especially with explosive ammo, but seriously, just like ripping my plane into 4 different pieces with one shot? Unlikely. And even the armoured, or even the glass is like armoured. The glass of the IL-2 was actually armoured. It was like not armour-plated glass, but I mean like it was stronger glass than most aeroplanes, purely to keep the driver safe. And I don't know, it just seems to be so disappointing. Anyway, let's focus on these ground targets here. Hopefully the Su-2 isn't going to steal all my glory. I'm going to use the rockets to take out this destroyer. If we can. Well, that didn't work because most of the rockets actually hit the ground. But there we go. You have to kind of use the IL-2 differently to the IL-2M. The IL-2M you can get away with going a lot slower than the IL-2. Mainly because the gunner on the back can really help you out. The actual cannon on the back of the IL-2M is actually a 50 cal. So you can really, really damage someone. Now, I'm not wanting to go 1v1 against any plane, so but I can potentially outturn them. So what I am going to try and do is show you the fighter capability of especially the IL-2. Maybe not the IL-2M because it doesn't really have any fighting capability, but you can see how easily it is for me to get onto the back of an enemy plane and hopefully not crash into the F6F Wildcat, because that is not going to end well at all. So anyway, looks like he's going to take a slightly slower turning circle than I am. So we're just going to continue going around in circles until we get onto the tail, unless somebody else decides to join in. We're actually hanging around the enemy spawn, which is probably not a good idea. I actually hit him with a rocket there, but he didn't die. That is pretty ridiculous. We have just lost our second traction in our wing. Can we pull up? No, we can't, because the Hellcat decided that it'd be fun to shoot out our other wing. And although our armoured wings are supposed to be super armoured, they just don't work. It's just too weak. There is no way the machine guns would ever take out an IL-2 that quickly. There's been stories of the IL-2s coming back with like multiple machine gun holes in their wings and just gliding and landing like nothing had ever hit them at all. And the driver and the gunner is perfectly okay, and it just doesn't seem that way at all. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. In a lot of cases I shouldn't have been dogfighting in an IL-2, but it does work if you don't get loads of people joining in on the party while you're halfway through a dogfight. But generally, you just want to go straight for the ground targets, use up all your ammunition, and then come back round, go down on the ground targets again. But the trouble is, getting the fighters on your tail is gonna hurt, and it always will with the IL-2s, and you can't get away with it. You can, like me, I really want to hit those ground targets, but look how many fighters there are down there. I have no fighter support whatsoever, and the IL-2s never needed fighter support, so I don't know why I would now. IL-2s were ground attack aircraft that could hit and run almost anything without having to give a shit. And it wasn't until like the Germans started upgrading the firepower on their actual main fighters, like the Bf-109, that they could actually start to deal with these particular units. Now I just dropped a bomb very, very low there, and actually caused me to crash. The IL-2s, they're just so disappointing. I honestly can't say anything else. I've basically pointed out everything I can. You go in for the ground targets, you get chased by fighters, and you die. And you just do that over and over and over again on every battle. It's just a matter of how many kills you can get in one run. That's all it is. And as much as you guys, I know there's a lot of fans of the IL-2 out there. In War Thunder itself, I feel it's massively let down. The armor on aircraft is not correctly represented in the game. And things like the upgraded Spitfires, for example, when they went from wooden frames to metal frames, from like the Hurricane to the Spitfire, it's not correctly represented in the game, and it seems that aeroplanes that were specifically metal, because they wanted more armor, were there, or in this game aren't armored. They just take the same amount of damage as something that's wooden, and that's not right in my opinion, and that's what really lets down the IL-2 in this game. So hopefully they'll fix it and balance out the IL-2. It is a very powerful aircraft, don't get me wrong, against ground targets and potentially bombers with those rockets, but in a fighter scenario, which is where it was supposed to be, don't, like, seriously, the IL-2 was a fighter bomber. It didn't need escort. It went in on its own, and it took out the ground targets, and it could potentially outfly enemy aircraft, and that's what was super scary about it. But in this game, it's one of the weakest aircraft that you can fly, and I'm really disappointed about that. And that's why I've held off kind of making this video, but hopefully you guys appreciate it anyway. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.